Good day, brothers and sisters. It's your brother Rams here, and I'd like to first start off by saying a happy Black History Year, because Black History is supposed to be taught all year round. I don't say month, because, baby, I'm going to tell you, you're black all year. So Black History keeps going on and on and on. But as always, I'd like to start off by thanking my listeners and subscribers out there for supporting me, and I really appreciate all the help and some of the comments you've made, and it just humbles me deeply to uh, press pass this knowledge on to all peoples, black, brown, and everything in between. So again, thank you so much for all your support. But I'm gonna start right off with the latest happenings here a little bit. But first and foremost, I want to offer my condolences to the Jesse Jackson family and his friends. Uh, Jesse Jackson was a great warrior of our people, and we must never forget that the sacrifices he's made, his family has made to support their dad and friend and colleague. And so again, my condolences to Jesse Jackson's family and his friends and all those who worked along with the brother. May God keep you, and may your soul rest in peace. You've done a great job, warrior. Now it's time to go home to the Lord, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're going home to the Maker. So you've done his work, and now he's called you home. But right now, we're going to get into the political sauce right now. I'm going to tell you a little bit first. I got to give you a little background on the brother. I'm sorry. Excuse me for that, but I got to give a little background on the brother. He was born in October 8th, 1941 in Greenville, South Carolina. And he died February 17th, 2026. He was an American civil rights activist. He was a civil rights activist. Okay? He was also a politician and an ordained Baptist minister. Okay? He graduated from Chicago Theological Seminary, and he went there from 1964 to 1966. Okay? That's our brother. He ran for president in 1984 and also again in 1988. He was in 1988. He was in a close battle with the governor from Massachusetts. The guy's name was Mike Dukakis, to become the Democratic nominee for president. And it was a neck and neck battle, but Dukakis won out. But our brother fought a brilliant fight because America wasn't ready for no black president, and that's important for you to understand. They weren't ready, and so. But kudos to our brother because he set the stage. He paved the way for the one who did become the first black president. That's Barack Obama, and Barack has acknowledged that, and that's the class of our president, our 44th president. And I'm so proud that he did make it. You know, that's how we do. If the first one don't make it, another one coming right behind us. So you can bet on it, baby. That's the original people. If one don't make it, then there's one coming right behind you. So you may try to shut one of us down or assassinate us and think it's over. It's not going to happen, baby, because we are God's people. We're the original people on this earth. Now you can take that or let it alone, but it's the truth. So when there's one, then here come another one. And if you get rid of that, here come another one. And then here comes another one. That's the beauty of God. And no one can stop God's work. May want to, but you can't. All right? But he's the founder of an organization. Key organization is called PUSH. It's an acronym. And the letters PUSH. And that means People United to Save Humanity. See, he was talking Rainbow Coalition way back then, all the peoples uniting. Remember, he was a soldier of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As a matter of fact, he was with Dr. King at the Lorraine Hotel when that wicked devil shot him, shot Dr. King. And if you want to know the truth, he was an agent of the FBI. I just got to throw that in. It wasn't just some lone gunman, because later on, James Earl Ray admitted, said, "Hey man, I wasn't involved in this all by myself." Okay, the FBI, and I'll give you a little more because this is also Black history. The government spying on our Black leadership is called the COINTELPRO program. What was that about, brother? It's called the COINTELPRO program that the FBI set up to spy on Black leadership and to prevent Black unity. And of course, it was run by that little knucklehead called J. Edgar Hoover. And he spied on everybody, all the Black leaders. Spied on Martin Luther King too. Martin Luther King Jr. also spied on him. So he was part of a program that helped Martin Luther King get killed. But Jesse Jackson was there that day as one of his soldiers. Okay? So we must remember that. Again, he started the organization PUSH, which means People United to Save Humanity. But I'm going to tell you, he's known for two famous phrases. Everybody remembers this. Okay? And it was like, it sends chills through my body even when I hear it today. Now I was just a young cat when it first came out. And remember, he used to say, "I am somebody. I may be black, but I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody." In other words, he's telling you the word of God, that God has made him somebody. No matter what you may call him or her, I am somebody, and I'm a creation of the true and living God. His second phrase that I always like now, I always love this phrase, and that is, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. And we gotta, especially today with this white supremacist in the White House and being surrounded by a bunch of white supremacists and nationalists and puppets and parrots. We got to keep hope alive and know what the hope is, that God is coming. Remember, I told you about Habakkuk in the Bible. Habakkuk, he had to show patience that God's plan was going to be the right plan. And God's plan is always the right plan. So I just want to say that about condolences to Jesse Jackson's family and his friends. A great warrior, and there'll always be warriors like that. So I'm telling you, the enemies of our people, you may silence one, but you won't silence us all, because there's one right behind them. So you have to realize the reality of life. You have to realize that. So the next piece of political sauce I'm talking about, this is up to date now. This is the Trump tariffs. Uh-oh, what done happened to our demon-like president? Let's take a look at this. He suffered a big blow from the Supreme Court. Oh yeah, he suffered a big blow. By 6-3 margin, the Supreme Court ruled that Trump and his tariffs are illegal. Any constitutional expert would have told you that all that stuff was going to get shot down in court if the judges actually do their job, and they did. And he got stark raving mad. You should have saw the demon come out in that man. God started calling no names. No respect. No respect at all for the Supreme Court. And he had no respect for them. The Trump tariffs, get this, took in $140 billion. I got some questions about that, right? There's two major questions I gotta ask about that $140 billion, brother. What is it, Brother Rams? The first question is that, and these questions haven't been answered. The first question is, what was the $140 billion earmarked for? What was that money supposed to go to? Nobody's saying a daggone thing. Stealing, that's what the damn thief is. Find a way to steal that money from the people, taxing the people extra, and then where's the 140 billion supposed to go? Where is it supposed to go? Nobody's ever answered that. The second question is, how and who will be refunded the money? Now, as soon as the Supreme Court ruled like that, the companies started lining up like it was free money. Will it be big business or will it be the consumer? Some people in the legislature, I heard Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts say that they took the money, now they got to give it back. Plain and simple as that. That's up for debate. But the reality is, it's going to be, the lawyer's going to tie that up in court for about 2, 3, 4 years. They're going to tie it up in court. And then, of course, they're going to get paid because they tying it up. Lawyer trick. Got to be careful of that. That's a lawyer trick, my brothers and sisters. But in his usual childlike response, when Trump did not get his way, he immediately criticized some of the justices, especially the ones he nominated who voted against Trump. He called them disloyal. Time out. The Supreme Court's supposed to be loyal to the president? That's a crooked idea unto itself. They're not supposed to be loyal to you. They're supposed to be independent. The two that sided against him was Amy Barrett and Neil Gorsuch. John Roberts, the Chief Justice, he also was against him. That made it 6-3. And you know the usual three. Our brother Clarence, surprise. That's why it's term limits, baby. We got to have term limits. I'm sick and tired of seeing him up there. Aren't you sick and tired of him do nothing, no account type of dude? Supreme Court Justice. Disgrace to Thurgood Marshall. He's a disgrace to him, in my opinion. Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Brett Kavanaugh. And Brett Kavanaugh left a little opening for them so that he can come, still be able to do it. No, but he attacked Amy Coney Barrett and Neil Gorsuch. Okay? He called them what? What did he call them? He said they weren't loyal. They weren't loyal. And they are disgrace to their families. How do you know that? Their family could be proud of them for that. Mm-hmm. But again, childlike behavior because he didn't get his way. So then this is what he did. He said, well, immediately it's going to be 10%. Worldwide tariffs. 10%. Okay, 10%. Everybody 10%. See, but he used tariffs to negotiate these trade deals with countries. But what he did was many of our allies turned against the United States and started looking other places like Canada and Mexico. They're looking at China to help them out. And so many of our Eastern European allies, Eastern Union allies have looking to China now, which is what would you expect? But now there's a hold on that. So I hear Trump's supposed to be going to China soon, and that's what he used against China. Remember, 145% tariffs. You know, she never said a word. All he just smiled at him and just waited. See, patience sometimes isn't. Sometimes patience is a real virtue. He waited. He said, this dude, he ain't going to be able to do nothing. He ain't going to be able to do nothing. They're going to stop him. And what did they do? They've stopped him. Oh, yeah, by insulting the Supreme Court justices. He still got other stuff to come up. Remember, 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship? That's coming up this spring. If I was Coney Barrett and Gorsuch, I wouldn't even listen to any of the law briefs or the oral arguments. Automatically know you lose. You got so much mouth, calling them lap dogs. Who ever heard of that? Calling the Supreme Court justices lap dogs. No respect for the law. But did you expect that out of a criminal? He's a criminal. So again, I posed the question. And again, this is just my opinion. Merrick Garland, where are you? Jack Smith did his job. He did a hell of a job. And my kudos go out to Jack Smith because he did the job he was supposed to do. And when he stood up there in Congress and read off his stuff, he said beyond a reasonable doubt, he would have been convicted. He's a criminal. He got convicted 34 times, felonies. He's still a criminal. And this is what you got to understand about our president. He's a criminal. Stone cold criminal. But what the ruling did was only Congress can establish tariffs because tariffs are in essence a tax. And only tax issues are to be addressed by Congress. So what did Trump do immediately? I'm proposing a 10% tariff on everybody. All right, go ahead. And then today, well, I'm proposing 15% on everybody. Go ahead. But guess what? In 150 days, now you got to go through Congress. Now let's look at the timetable. You got to go through 150 days before it will be brought before the Congress. That brings us to around July. July. So now if Congress decides to reestablish those tariffs and extend them, guess what's right around the corner? Midterm elections in November. So the Republicans will be in a quandary because what will happen is this. If he threatens them, say, you better vote for it. They're going to say, I don't know, Donald. Remember, you're dead. You're dead in the water. You're lame duck in essence. Unless you try to start a war and all that. But you're lame duck. But again, the Supreme Court says you got to go back to Congress, which is where it was going to be anyway. That's where it was going to be anyway, brothers and sisters. So we have to realize these things. So, again, God has come. Didn't I tell you he was here? He's here. He's going to put a stop to the demon. See, it looked kind of like, oh man, it's bleak. And like Rebecca, we always crying for justice. Dear Lord, all this wickedness. Watch it happen right in front of your face, dear Lord. Almighty God is going to stop the demon. He always does. All you got to do is keep your prayers. Now, he calling the Supreme Court justices all kind of names and stuff. I said, man, this dude is out of his mind. But then if he's out of his mind, what I think about is the 25th Amendment. Uh-oh, what's that, Brother Rams? The 25th Amendment. Let me break that down on what it is. The 25th Amendment is for presidential succession. Okay? What does that mean? For the guy that comes after him. All right? It's for president to basically deal with the transfer of power. Okay? And fulfilling vice presidential vacancies. And handling presidential capacities. Listen to that word. It's fulfilling vice presidential vacancies. So if the vice president, something happened to him, The 25th Amendment allows you to replace the vice president. But it's also for handling presidential incapacities. That's kind of interesting. Incapacity, incapable. That's the breakdown of that word. In means without. Like invisible, without vision. Incapable, incapacity, without the capacity. All right. It transfers power to the vice president. See, this is what this 25th Amendment is sort of about. If president dies, resigns, or is removed, that's what the 25th Amendment is about. Or if the president is disabled. Now, there are causes to invoke the 25th Amendment. And here's the key piece for the 25th Amendment. It's called Section 4 of the 25th Amendment. Okay? It can be initiated by, of course, the vice president. The majority of his cabinet can also say, hey, man, the president done lost his mind. You know they're not. They're all puppets. How the puppet gonna turn against the puppet master? So you can count them out. They can't even talk for themselves. A bunch of puppets and lackeys and sycophants. Okay? But Congress can designate a body, a political body, but Congress has the final say. Congress has the final say about that. Okay? This is what mental health experts are saying about Donald Trump. Mental health experts. You got to say, anyone, Mr. Magoo, that's for you old heads, can see there's something mentally wrong with him. Something's mentally wrong. Childlike behavior, throwing tantrums, pathological liar. Okay? And two experts on mental health, I'm going to give you their names in a minute. They describe Trump as being a malignant narcissist. A narcissist is always thinking of himself. And if you listen to him, just listen to him. What is his thing? What did he say? I'm the greatest, most successful president ever. Who told you that, man? You out of your mind. You're going to go down in history as one of the worst. And watch his State of the Union address on Tuesday. Oh, man, you can see all the lies. He's going to lie like a oriental rug. Oh, we got the greatest economy. Look at the Dow. It's up 50,000 points. Oh, man, we took over a very bad economy for Joe Biden. Very bad, very bad, very bad. And then I came to the rescue, and I'm the greatest president ever. And we have all kind of prosperity, and our economy's turning around. And I did a lot. I did a lot for blacks and Hispanics, and I've done more than any other president in the whole wide world. And I'm the greatest, and I'm the best, and I'm a this, and I'm a that. Mentally disturbed, brothers and sisters, because the first thing is he's not in touch with reality. So I would challenge his mental capacity, because he's not even in the world of real. He's making the same mistake Sleepy Joe made, confusing Wall Street with Main Street. The Dow Jones is always going to do good. It's going to do good because we have a strong economy. So even though Donald Trump has tried to wreck the economy, it's been a good economy. It's been a very good economy. And that's why I say, for all those folks, especially on the Republican side, oh, we was getting ripped off by the tariffs and by them other countries. We had all this trade deficit and this and that and that and this and this and that. Oh, we were doing bad. We were getting ripped off. We had to retaliate. Now let's look at some sense, because sometimes people talk, but they don't talk with sense. But you also on the other side of your mouth, You say this: America has the strongest economy in the world. Well, wait a minute. There's a contradiction here. How could you have the strongest economy in the world and all these countries are ripping you off? You can't get ripped off and expect to be successful. That's just basic business. If people are ripping your business off, then you will not be successful. Guaranteed. So ask yourself, brothers and sisters, that doesn't make sense to impose tariffs on really anyone other than what you do as a mutual thing. Remember what Ronald Reagan said? He said tariffs are bad for what? The economy and for the workers. Because in the end, the workers are going to bear the brunt, the consumers. And remember, America is a consumer nation, not a producer nation. They bring in more than what they sell out. That's a fact. So next time you hear the president talking and this, that, and the third, say, where's the 140 billion? How and who is going to get that money? Like they said, they're going to tie it up in court. But who was it earmarked from the beginning? If the Supreme Court never ruled on this, who was going to get that 140 billion? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. These experts called him being a malignant narcissist. I'm gonna give you their names now. Look them up, because I know you say holograms. You sure these were? Look them up, like I did. The first one is a forensics psychiatrist. That means he's used to digging into the root causes and digging deep into the psyche of the mind. Heavy dude. Know what his name is? Randy X. Lee. Look him up. Forensic psychiatrist. He agreed with that. This is something else. This is something else. So it's important to understand that, brothers and sisters. And here's the second brother. It's a psychiatrist known as John Zinner. Zinner. It's like sinner with a Z. Dr. John Zinner. John Zinner. And these are renowned psychiatrists. When they made a mental assessment of our president, they called him a malignant narcissist. Again, let's look at the 25th Amendment. Is he mentally incapable? But you know the puppets in them ain't gonna go for that. And that's why they say, oh no, 25th Amendment, that won't work. Okay, you can. You can. But I want to spend one time to this, and then we're going to get into the real subject here, and that is Black history. But I want to talk about this thing called measles. It hurts me to my heart to hear that now we breaking out in measles all across the country. Why? We had just about eradicated measles by the turn of the 21st century. Had eradicated it. And in my opinion, because I'm going to tell you who started this foolishness. It started at the top, of course, with Donald Trump being an anti-vaccine man, even though he got a COVID shot. And then the Texas governor, Governor Abbott, who was then later joined by Ron DeSantis, even though his state isn't bad in terms of measles, but they were the anti-vaccine. If you take a vaccine and they make you take a vaccine, then we're going to punish them for making them make. Hey, listen, measles isn't a joke, damn it, as you see. We had just about eradicated at the start of the 21st century. I'm going to give you some stats on the measles as it's happening now. It's a deadly virus. The number one state that's got measles outbreak is South Carolina. Who's the governor? A Republican. A Republican. The second most? Texas. Well, you know he's a Republican. The third? Utah. Again, guess what? Republican. They got the top three most cases of uh, 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 measles in the country. And then the fourth was Arizona. That's run by a Democrat, but their numbers aren't nowhere near Texas and South Carolina. Nowhere near it. And then the last one is New Mexico. But again, those issues aren't the same because their numbers are low, but they're just in the top five because in other states they're really not as high. But 900 some cases in South Carolina, 800 some cases in Texas. Republican governors who's now promoting that don't get vaccinated. Now let me give you a little history about vaccines and viruses, brothers and sisters. Okay, this is what makes these governors nitwits, especially the Republican governors. Makes them nitwits. And this is what makes them nitwits about a virus. When a virus, and you can remember this from COVID-19, remember a virus, once it's active again, what it does is it mutates. I'll say that again. A virus mutates, it changes forms. Its genetic makeup changes. So that which is used to combat it become less and less effective. By you unleashing measles again, now the virus has had a chance to mutate, which now puts us all in jeopardy. Because we all got vaccinated. Remember MMR vaccination? You couldn't even get in school unless you had one. But in these knucklehead states, mostly Republican, you don't have to. It's not up to you. It's your right. You had a right. You don't have to take a vaccine and put your children in danger. And put your children in danger. So that's a bad situation, sisters and brothers. So I just want to say something about the measles, guys. You know, look, you let that measles get out of control, and you'll see something that you've never seen before in your life. Anyone who's gotten measles now realize how painful it is. They realize how painful it is. But I want to say this because, like I say this before, but I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it every podcast because I have to. Remember, I talked about how America talking about immigration and all of that, and I say this: how can we have a meaningful discussion about immigration if we don't have Native American activists at the table? How come America doesn't want their point of view about immigration? Why are they left out? Don't you think they have something to say as the original Americans? Remember, I told you, and I'll say it again. Every Caucasian in this country is a descendant of an immigrant. Now, you can take that or let it alone, but history bears me witness because this is not your land. This was never your land. You came here on a land that was occupied. You came here on a land that was occupied. So I keep saying Native American, if they're not included, they're not talking about immigration, they're talking about ethnic cleansing. They're attacking the brown and black people here in this country. That's all that is. You don't see them deport too many white. You don't see them deporting any. Well, nope, I take that back. I heard of a situation where this Irish guy, I forgot what state got detained by ICE. One white guy. One white guy. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So, again, this is important to understand. This is important to understand, brothers and sisters. So, I just want to say, where's my Native American brothers? If we're going to talk about immigration. And then another thing I want to say is, you know how they're trying to buy all these warehouses for detention centers? They're concentration camps, brothers and sisters, and they're not just going to be for illegal immigrants. They're going to be for black people too. I told you that because they're attacking black folks. Remember, he's going after Somali. How the hell are you going to tell a Somali person from someone from Mississippi? You tell me how you do that. How can you separate a Somali from someone from Alabama? So black people, we got to come together and do what we got to do. But I'm going to pivot right now, brothers and sisters, and let's get into the subject matter here, and that is Black history. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm going to name this one Black History 3. The truth must come out. Black History 3, the truth must come out. And as you know, with my format, what I usually do is I always start across the water, and then I bring it on home and bring it over here to America to show you the greatness of the original people, that we've gone through a whole lot. And God is still with us because we're his original people. That's what you got to understand. We're his original people. I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying this is an anthropological, archaeological, genetic, biological fact. Remember, I told you, you're called the Asiatic black man. Why? Because you come from Asia before it broke into Alkebulan, which is Africa. But all of that was Asia. It was one landmass, Asia. You are the Asiatic black man. Well, Brother Ramsey, your skin doesn't look black to me. It looks brown. Yes, it is brown, brother. It is. But you're not called black because that's the color of your skin. You're called black because that's from where all color comes. Get it through your damn thick skull. Every race of people came from the original people, and that's the Asiatic black man. You can take it or let it alone. But science bears me witness to what I say. Your genes are genetically, listen to the language that I use. Your genes are genetically dominant over every other race's genes because the other genes came from your gene. And I told you, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, brothers and sisters. You know it. I always mention it. I always mention it. It's in the New Testament. Acts chapter 17, verse 26. In the New Testament, God made all nations from one man so they would so they would inhabit the whole earth. That's Acts chapter 17, verse 26. He made them from one man, and that was the Asiatic black man. So within every human that came on this earth, they came out of the original people, the original man. But now I want to get started with Black history. The truth comes out. As always, I start across the water, and I bring it on. I bring it, and then And I bring it across the water, and then we talk about black, famous black folks here in America. But first, we got to go back to our roots. And this is my favorite man I talk about. All of them, I love them, of course. But I got to talk about my man because, see, some of us, we get enamored with white wealth. We look at the white folks in amazement. Wow, they got so much money. One day I wish I could have some. And not knowing your history, man, wait till I talk to you about this brother here. And this is my man here. I got to lay it on you, baby. And that is who? My man, Mansa Musa the First. Mansa Musa the First. He ruled from 1312 to 1337 CE. CE stands for Common Era. And Common Era basically is saying that as used for religious neutrality. It's not part of any religion. So CE, Common Era. Okay? Mansa Musa the First. He was born around 1280 CE. And he died around 1337 CE. Okay? His legacy spans immense wealth, territorial expansion, and cultural development. Good God, wait a minute, brother man, what you talking about? Oh, yeah. His legacy spans immense wealth, immense territorial expansion, and cultural development. This is some of the accomplishments of our brother. And oh, they're heavy, Dan. They're heavy. The first thing he's known for is legendary pilgrimage. Mansa was a Muslim. He was a Muslim. Oh, yeah, he was. He led up his pilgrimage to Mecca. See, in every Muslim's life, they must make the pilgrimage. They must make Hajj. Hajj. Hajj, that's the pilgrimage to Mecca. Well, all Muslims must go at least once in their life. And he led this pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, and it took a year to 1325. And he was a devout Muslim, as I said. But guess what? During this pilgrimage, guess what Mansa Musa took with him? Man, this brother, heavy brother. He took 60,000 soldiers with him. Now, let's look at the logistics of that. 60,000 soldiers marching from Mali to Mecca. Marching from Mali to Mecca. Okay? He took 60,000 soldiers. He took slaves. Slaves? What do you mean, Brother Ramsey? He had slaves, yes. Black people had slaves. But our slavery was different from the Caucasian. Just because they're slave, they ain't the same as the slave we were to the Caucasians. Don't even think that when I say, oh, you all brutalized them. No, not necessarily. We didn't. He took slaves, other personnel, had dozens and dozens of camels and horses. And guess what they were carrying? This is heavy. Not just supplies. No, not, but they were carrying hundreds and hundreds of pounds of gold. Hundreds of pounds of gold. He took over the territory of Songhai and revitalized Gao. You've seen the name Gao, General Gao's chicken if you ate some Chinese food, but it's Gao. That's a place in that area. He revitalized Gao and Timbuktu. I'm going to talk a little bit about Timbuktu, the great learning center. During this lavish and massive pilgrimage, he distributed, get this. This is what he did. This is why this brother's heavy. I got to give him kudos. he distributed so much gold in Cairo that he caused a decade-long inflation crisis in Egypt. He caused an economic crisis in Egypt because he flooded the market with so much gold. Can you imagine? They're carrying hundreds and hundreds of pounds of gold. That's on the pilgrimage. And what that did, it put Mali on the map in the Western world. Because the Western world had to take notice. What? Hundreds and hundreds of pounds of gold. That's my brother, Mansa Musa. The legendary pilgrimage to Mecca. The second thing he's known for is expansion of the Mali Empire. He had to expand it. He conquered 24 cities and surrounding districts. He was also a military strategist. Not only was a shrewd businessman, but he was a military strategist. Okay? And then what he did was, again, he took over the city of Gao, but he revitalized it. Not only did he take it over, but he revitalized it. And then here's his third biggest thing, and this is for all black people to know. This is for white people to know. This is for everybody in between to know. The establishment of Timbuktu as a center for learning. Timbuktu, the center for learning. What? Oh yeah, center for learning. When he returned from his pilgrimage, Musa invested heavily in Timbuktu. He invested heavily. Now imagine this dude got tons of gold. Now think about the concept of tons of gold. What do they measure gold in now? Ounce. He got tons of it. And we'll talk about his value in a minute. He invested heavily in Timbuktu, establishing it as a world-renowned center for Islamic scholarship and education. Islamic scholarship and education. That's a key word, and education. Including the founding of the university. Get this, founding of a university way back then, black man. The University of Sankore, Sankore, the University of Sankore. He built expansive libraries that contain, now this is what he did. He built these massive libraries. Now, you know, what does a library do? It contains knowledge. And that's what this does, right? And what it contained, these libraries contain hundreds and hundreds of manuscripts about math, science, medicine, architecture, government, law. All of them subjects, Brother Ram? Yes. Yes. That's you, black man. It was a great learning center. I remember a young brother said to me one time, he said, "Oh yeah, Timbuktu, that's like the black Harvard." I laughed. I said, "Young brother, you got that one backwards, baby. Harvard is the white Timbuktu. That's all that is. Great learning center. But the conquerors came and they burned it. But then when they started reading some of it, they said, whoa, 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 we can't burn this, let's steal it. And now a lot of that stuff is in the libraries in Europe. It's in the libraries in Europe. Heavy knowledge about these things. That's what I want you to know, brother and sister. That's Mansa Musa. Another thing is that his architectural development. he commissioned extensive building projects, such as the the Gingerbread Mosque, the Gingerbread Mosque in Timbuktu. He had big palaces, lavish palaces in Gao. Remember, he revitalized Gao after he captured him, employing architects from across the Islamic world. He employed other architects, Islamic architects. Okay? And then economic prosperity and administration. Under Mansa's rule, Mali controlled the primary trade routes between the Mediterranean gold fields and the the Mediterranean and the West African gold fields. See, they both had gold, but he controlled it. No wonder he had so much. And what that did was strengthen the economy through the taxation of gold and salt. He controlled gold and salt. Now think how much salt people use. That's what he did. And what that did was it created a stable and well-administered state. Mm-hmm. Stable. We have stability and well-administered. Because remember, in some of the manuscripts, there were manuscripts about government, which implies that the black man was governing cities all kind of countries and stuff using government tactics. Mansa Musa. But Mansa goes down in history, and this is now we're talking about the economics and worth. Mansa Musa goes down in history as one of the richest men ever. One of the richest men ever. And I know our people, we get, Elon Musk, and we looking up, he a trillionaire. Oh, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. Oh, man, we get so enamored with them and their wealth. They didn't have nothing compared. They didn't have nothing compared. They didn't have nothing compared to our brother Mansa Musa. Because he had tons of gold, not paper money. See, their money's based on GDPs. Could you imagine having tons of gold today? What it'd be worth? He'd be the world's first trillionaire, and whatever comes after that, especially with the price of gold as it is. But I'm gonna let you know that black people, we got billionaires too. Don't you forget that. First one I want to mention is Robert Smith. He got his money from finance. He gave some money to the college. Some black paid off their tuition. That's it. One of the things I saw he was famous for. He paid off their tuition. Robert Smith, worth about $8 billion. Next one, you know this brother, Jay-Z. He's up there. Oprah Winfrey, she's up there. You know these names. Michael Jordan. Again, Jay-Z and Oprah got this from media, and Michael Jordan from sports and endorsements. So these are black billionaires. So don't you get so enamored with the Caucasian ones. We got some too. And then in the end, they can't mess with nothing. They can't mess with nothing. They can't mess with nothing, my brothers and sisters, when it comes to Mansa Musa the First. He caused inflation himself. Damn, that brother's powerful. But you know, like I know, I got to have a queen. Uh-oh, queen. Yeah, got to have me a queen. It's a powerful queen, too. The name of the sister, and I want you to look it up. Her name is Queen Pharaoh Hatshepsut. 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 Queen Hatshepsut. Okay? Who is she? Heavy queen. Heavy. Who was she? She was the female pharaoh of Egypt in the 18th dynasty. And she reigned as king. Now think about this. Not queen, she reigned as a king from 1479 to 1458 BC. She was born around 1507, 1508 BC, and she died around 1458 BC. Her parents were Thutmose I, and he was a pharaoh, and Queen Ahmose. Queen Ahmose. Those were her parents of Pharaoh Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. Powerful sister. All right. She was born during the early years of the 18th dynasty. I told you, Egypt had up to 29 dynasties. She married her half brother. I know you say, oh, Ram. That happened back then, and it happened because, again, sometimes the pharaohs had wives and other kids. So think about it. If I got wives and other kids, I mean, we might have the same daddy, but we ain't got the same mama. Take it or let it alone. She married her half brother, Thutmose II, but he died when the father passed him and passed it on to Thutmose II, because his father was Thutmose I. He passed it on to Thutmose II, but he died, and then she ascended to the throne. All right? What are some of her major accomplishments? Construction of the temple of Deir el-Bahri. That's Deir el-Bahri. The temple of Deir el-Bahri. She had that constructed. She commissioned her stunning mortuary. She commissioned this. It was a mortuary for the temple at the temple at Deir el-Bahri. This was going to be her burial place. And she commissioned it. Okay? And it was an architectural masterpiece. Good God Almighty. An architectural masterpiece in the Valley of Kings. See, this is key because not everybody can be in the Valley of Kings. Only kings can be there. Okay? She constructed this in the Valley of the Kings, which served as a testament to her divine right to rule. See, she said, God gave me this right to rule and solidified her legacy. It solidified her legacy. She even wore a beard. She wore like a little fake beard because all the kings had a beard. The pharaohs had a beard, so she had one put on. Okay? One of the things she's famous for is the expedition to the land of Punt. Okay, she uh, commissioned an expedition to the land of Punt. You would know it as modern day uh, 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 Eritrea and Somali. That's Punt. Okay, let me get my note together here. She orchestrated a famous, successful trade with Punt, returning with immense riches such as myrrh, trees. There was a certain type of cedar tree that was used to make wood, to make, they used the wood of a cedar tree. Cedar wood is very expensive. Gold, of course, Africa full of gold, ivory, and exotic animals. And this boosted Egypt economy and prestige. It boosted Egypt's economy and prestige. She was involved in massive building projects. Besides the temple at Deir el-Bahri, she was a prolific builder who restored many ancient monuments that were destroyed and erected towering 100-foot tall obelisks. Now, what's an obelisk, Brother Rams? 100-foot tower obelisk. What is it? And she installed these at the Karnak Temple complex, at the Karnak. Remember Johnny Carson, Karnak? Used to wear that thing on his head. These are for the old heads. You young people don't know what this is. Karnak. He would hold up the card and tell you the answer and give you the question. Karnak, but it's a temple of Karnak. It's in Egypt. Okay? So she built these 100-foot tall obelisks. And now I'm going to give you an example of how America copied, how the Caucasian people copied that. You know, I'm going to give you an example of what an obelisk looks like. Look at the Washington Monument. At the base is square. It rises up and it gets thinner. And at the top, if you look at the top, it's a pyramid at the top. Look at it carefully. It's a pyramid at the top. The base, and it rises up. It gets narrower and narrower as it goes up. An obelisk. And a lot of times they have ancient writings and history of our people on the obelisk. See, we write our history down back then. Obelisk. She constructed them. And if you want to know what an obelisk looks like, look like the Washington Monument. And that's a tribute to that. Okay? She reestablished trade networks which helped Egypt expand its economic influence. She reestablished trade, crucial trade networks. She reestablished these trade networks that used to be. So she reestablished them. Okay? And what that did was it expanded the economic influence of Egypt. She brought economic stability and prosperity to Egypt by doing what? By focusing on trade more so than war. She focused on trade more than war to bring prosperity to her people. And that's what I want you to understand. And what that did was it fostered a great period of wealth and peace. Everybody making money. There's no squabbling. Things are good. She was a hell of a king. King Pharaoh Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut. And along with that, It brought back the arts and culture. She had a very powerful reign. She had a very powerful reign, my brothers and sisters. So that's that's my two that I talk about over the water. I got to talk about a king and a queen because that's your roots. That's black history. See, America wants you to believe your history started when you became a slave. No, that's not the truth. That's a lie. Your history is so long. And that's why I say to my Caucasian brothers and sisters, you know, you don't understand. You simply don't understand. You don't go back far enough. Your knowledge ain't deep enough to understand the black man's history. That's why I make it imperative as black people, you study your history, study your story. And like I said, it's like it's addictive, man. Once you take a little bit of it and read that history of yourself, you say, man, I got to keep reading about this. I got to keep reading about this, man. Remember? That's important. So now we're coming across the water. And as I told you, it's my format. What I usually do, I don't what? I focus on black scientists and inventors. Why do you do that, Brother Rams? I do that for a reason because what happens is my Caucasian brothers and sisters, they think they have cornered the market on science and all technology and all that. And they always leave you out and make you think that you can't do it. So I'm just letting you know that we've faced some tremendous odds and we've overcome them. We faced some tremendous odds and we've overcome them. Okay? So I'm gonna start with one of the about with a brother, but he wasn't so much of a scientist, but this is something that he invented as an inventor, as an inventor, and his name was George Crumb. You say, brother, man, who's George Crumb? He lived from 1824 to 1914. Who's George Crumb, Brother Ram? Every last one of you has had some of this in your lifetime. Guess what that is? George Crumb invented the potato chip. The potato chip, George Crumb. Legend has it, he had a restaurant and he was serving up fried potatoes and stuff. And one of the customers, he served the customer, and the customer said, "These things are too thick and they're just too greasy. I'm not feeling this." In other words, so what he did was, he was working at Moon's Lake House. He was working at the Moon's Lake House in Saratoga Springs, New York, where this restaurant was. And again, like I said, it was, the man said, "Nah, this don't taste right. It's just too greasy. It's not what I want." So know what he did? He went in the back and he cut the potatoes very, very thin and fried them hard and added a little salt. That's George Crumb, the potato chip. Now, unfortunately, in his case, he didn't put no patent on it. So of course, Lay's and Wise and all them other offshoots have now profited mega trillions off of that potato chip. But it was invented by a brother, George Crumb. So remember that, black man. Next one I'm talking about is a brother named Elijah McCoy. Oh, shoot. Elijah McCoy. Who was he? He was a Canadian American. He was born in Canada. He was born May 2nd, 1844, in Essex, Canada. He died October 10th, 1929. He was 85 years old. Guess what he did? He invented an automatic engine lubricator. An automatic engine lubricator. What did that do? It was a device that oiled moving parts of a steam engine, and particularly the train. He made a device that oiled moving parts of a steam engine, especially in a train, while they were running. While the train was running, he revolutionized the railroad industry by preventing frequent stops because they had to stop and oil them and then get back going. And look how long that would take. So what that did was this saved them time and money. And then guess what? This device was so superior that people demanded, and you've heard this expression, they demanded, man, we want the real McCoy to ensure quality, which is now a phrase used all over. You don't want nothing fake. You want the real McCoy. If it's supposed to be good, I want the real McCoy, baby. And they're talking about a brother, Elijah McCoy. Lubricating device for moving engine parts, especially of a steam engine of a train, while the train is running. So you just pump it in and the train keeps rolling. All right? And next person, I got George Crumb. I got Elijah. And then the next person, his name is Charles B. Brooks. He's from Newark, New Jersey. And he invented the U.S. first self-propelled street sweeper truck and patented in March 17th, 1896. And it was patent number 556711. The street sweeper. You see him in the cities. Now, there was another brother who patented something that wasn't self-propelled, but it was a street sweeper. It's called C.J. Bishop. So I want to get that cleared in 1849. But the big difference was with this one, uh, it also had, um, it also had, hold on a second, brothers and sisters. We've had a little technical difficulty. Okay, little technical difficulty, but we straightened it out. So, Charles B. Brooks, and he invented the U.S. first self-propelled street sweeper. And the big difference with that is that it had a receptacle to gather up the waste. But again, there was a brother named C.J. Bishop who had one patented in 1849. So I just want to make that clear to you, brothers and sisters. All right. Got to turn to the women's now. Got to turn to the women's. First sister I want to talk about her name is Dorothy Vaughan. And she was portrayed in the movie Hidden Figures. She was Octavia Spencer for those who watched the movie. She was born September 20th, 1912. She died November 10th, 2008. She graduated from Wilberforce University in 1929. She's a black woman, Dorothy Vaughan. What was she? She was a mathematician and a computer, get this, and a computer programmer. She worked at the Langley Research Center in an all-black group of female mathematicians known as the West Area Computing Unit. The West Area Computing Unit. And that was in 1949. Black sister. mathematician, computer expert. So don't tell me, black woman, you can't do math. It makes me cringe when I hear you young black women say, oh, I can't do math. It's too hard for me. It ain't too hard for you. All you have to do is put your mind to it. Stop shaking and gyrating and understand the greatness from which you come from. She's a mathematician, a computer expert, black woman. Love her to death. She became NASA's first African American manager. And eventually she took over that unit, that West Area Computing Unit. She took it over as the manager. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. And know what she was an expert in? This is for you computer people. She was an expert in Fortran. And Fortran is NASA's programming coding language. That's what NASA used for their coding language, Fortran. She was an expert in that, brothers and sisters. That was our sister. Next sister. Got to go to her. Dr. Mae Jemison. Dr. Mae Jemison, beautiful sister. Dr. Mae Jemison. She was born October 17th, 1956. And guess he was born? In Decatur, Alabama. Roll Tide, roll. She graduated from the Weill Cornell Graduate School of Medicine. She was the first African American woman to travel to space. She traveled on the Space Shuttle Endeavour in 1992. That's Mae Jemison. No disrespect. Dr. Mae Jemison. Get this, she was a physician. She was an aeronautical engineer. Good God. So don't tell me, black woman, about your ability when it comes to math and science. You are made of math and science. You're the mother of math and science. Now you can take that or let it alone. But these sisters, even the sisters across the water, bear me witness as to your intellectual acumen. She was an aeronautical engineer. She was an entrepreneur. And she was a professor at Dartmouth. You know, the Ivy League school up there in New Hampshire? Professor. Dr. Mae Jemison. First black woman up in space. And she was a strong advocate of STEM education. Strong advocate of STEM education. And now, this one here, I like this one. It's cold out there, isn't it? It's kind of cold. And man, good God. What do you do in a cold house? What do you do? Man, you go in there and you go up to that thermostat. I know I do. You go up to that thermostat and say, baby, we got to turn up the heat in here. Especially when we've been having them sub-freezing days. And this sister, I'm going to bring her up. Because all of y'all got one in your house. See? All of y'all have eaten potato chips. Yeah, you have. Mm-hmm. This sister's name is Alice H. Parker. What did she do, Brother Rams? She's a black inventor. She was born in 1895 in Morristown, New Jersey. I had a partner that went there. Morristown, New Jersey is famous because that's the place where they train CNI dogs in Morristown, New Jersey. Okay? She was born in 1895 in Morristown, New Jersey. She died in 1920. Okay? Now you say 1920. Wait a minute, Brother Ram. Let's look at the math there. She was born in 1895, but dead by 1920. She was only 25 years old. Brilliant sister. Young sister. God rest her soul. But God knew her purpose. She served the purpose, then God brought her home. Because remember, there's a lot of racial hatred then. A lot of racial hatred. Turn of the century, 1920, Ku Klux Klan, white supremacy. But this is what she did. She got an education at Howard University. And she invented a revolutionary central heating system that used natural gas. And get this. And this paved the way for modern day HVAC. You know, heating, ventilation, air conditioner. She paved the way with this because she had a central heating system. Okay? And what that did was it featured ductwork, like it does today, and independent, here's the key factor, and independently controlled burners for zoned heating. That's for people in them big houses. They don't want to heat up the whole house, so they shut off the heat in one room and turn on the heat in the other room. She's responsible for that. Alice H. Parker. Don't forget that sister's name. And what that did was a major leap in safety because it was safe and efficient over coal. They use coal, man. Coal, if you don't keep that fire right, next thing you know, you'll burn your house down. She stopped that. So I want you all to understand. Alice H. Parker. Alice H. Parker. Dr. Mae Jemison. Dr. Mae Jemison. Dorothy Vaughan, mathematician. Mae Jemison, mathematician. Alice H. Parker, engineer, mechanical engineer. That's what that really is, mechanical engineering. Look at the brother. The brother invented the potato chip. The brother that made the street sweeper. These are heavy black men here in America that had to fight off all kind of racial hatred and all kind of white supremacy and everything to get their ideas across. But they overcame it, and that shows you the strength and power of the black man, the strength and power of black history. That we rise on the shoulders of each other. So, brothers and sisters, again, I want to say several things before I close out. And I want to again say, where's my Native American brother? How come he's not at the table talking about immigration? And I want to say kudos again to our Latin sister, Anna Navarro. I want to say to our black sister, Jasmine Crockett, Tiffany Cross, Carrie Champion. I see you all on these shows fighting these demons. Keep fighting them. Let them know the greatness from which you come from. And you're not just talking, baby. You're not just talking. You're standing on the shoulders of greatness and those who came before you who were great. And like I said, each one teach one. Get your children and start teaching them their story because your history is rich. And like I said, you're like an addict once you get into it. And you'll be surprised. Who would have thought? Everybody in an elevator. Alexander Miles, The Doors. Alexander Miles, Thomas Carrington, stethoscope. Think about their contributions. And I got a whole bunch more. So Black History, it ain't going to end in February because I give you Black History all the time. So again, I just want to say thank you so much for listening, my dear brothers and sisters. May God keep you safe. Continue to pray because God is here. Don't worry, the demon, Donald Trump, his time is slowly dwindling. You're going to see it. 150 days will be July. His tariffs will be over. And then you'll see come November, God has come. So again, till next time, brothers and sisters, may God bless you and keep you safe. Amen.